There are questions growing also about the warning signs missed. People who knew the 19-year-old shooter say he had a troubled past and disturbing social media posts. Our chief national correspondent Tom Yamas is in Fort Lauderdale. And Tom, there's focus now on a tip to the FBI.
That's right, George. There was a tip to the FBI, and it involved social media, but the agency says they did not have enough information at the time. Now, regardless of that, we've been digging into Nikolas Cruz's background, and what we've been told is about a long struggle with mental illness and a history of violence. This morning, authorities describing the mind of alleged shooter Nikolas Cruz as warped and possibly demented. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News the 19-year-old gunman told investigators he heard voices in his head directing him to conduct the attack.
Hello, Spy Kitten here with another eye-opening expose. In today's video, we will be discussing the terrifying reality of our world and the demonic forces behind it. Many do not believe and pass off demonic possession as mere folklore. But as far back as the biblical records go, demons, or as they are more commonly known, unclean spirits, have always been known to be among us, terrorizing, tempting, and even influencing mankind.
The rare glimpse inside the mind of a serial murderer. The BTK killer terrorized Wichita, Kansas for 3 decades. Now, in a jailhouse interview, you'll hear directly from him how and why he committed these gruesome crimes. Here's Dateline NBC's Edie Magnus.
BTK seemed uncatchable. Everyone wondered who he was, where he was, until just a few months ago, when a most unlikely man who'd lived among them all along, Dennis Rader, was arrested.
I am BTK. Yeah. And I'm the guy they're after, 100%. All right.
This interview, obtained by Dateline after it was done, was conducted by a Harvard-trained forensic psychologist, Robert Mendoza, who performs more than 100 evaluations for criminal and civil cases each year. He was hired by the defense team to assess Rader's sanity.
I got this fantasy. I started working out this fantasy in my mind, and once that person become a fantasy, I could just loop it over. I'd lay in bed at night thinking about this person, the events, and how it's going to happen, and it became a real, almost like a picture show. You know, I wanted to go ahead and produce it, and direct it, and go through with it, no matter what the costs were and the consequences. It was going to happen one way or another.
No one knows for sure why Rader had to kill to fulfill those fantasies. In this interview with the psychologist, Rader dismisses each victim as a project. He says he'd begin by stalking. In his jailhouse interview, Rader blamed his murder spree on that mysterious force he has always claimed was way beyond his control, Factor X.
Something I use it. I actually think I'm maybe possessed with demons. I was dropped on my head when I was a kid. I've talked to some theological Christian people, and some of those people are really strong. They actually think, well, the Bible says that there's demons within you or can come into you. That's the only thing I can figure out. I have, something drove me to do this. The normal people just don't do this.
You can't stop it.
I can't stop it. It's just, it controls me. It's like it's in the driver's seat.
The serial killer known as Son of Sam terrorized New York City from 1976 to 1977. David Berkowitz used a .44 caliber handgun to commit several random shootings across the city. He killed 6 people and he wounded 7 others. Police eventually arrested him exactly 40 years ago today, and now he is opening up in his first major television interview in a decade. Maurice Dubois spoke with him for a CBS News special, and here's a preview of their conversation.
People never understand where I came from, no matter how much I try to explain it. They wouldn't understand what it was to walk in darkness.
The city is preoccupied with the killer who in one note signed himself the Son of Sam.
Most of the victims have been young women with shoulder-length dark brown hair who were gunned down as they sat in parked cars or walked the sidewalks of the Bronx and Queens.
I ran down. By the time I got down, she was dead in the street.
Serial killer's about to walk in here and talk with us? That looked like him, right?
Hello, hey, God bless you.
Maurice Dubois.
It's an honor to meet you, sir. Glad to meet you.
Thank you for talking with us.
Sure, okay. It's a big step, you know. I have
step?
my misgivings and nervousness and all those other things, but
understood. Is this a special place for you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a place of refuge. I've been locked up since the time of my arrest, just under 40 years.
You just turned 64.
Yeah, I just turned 64. Yeah.
What would you tell 23-year-old David Berkowitz today?
Turn around before it's too late, because destruction is coming, you know. And as far as I'm concerned, that was not me. That was not me. That name, I hate that name. I despise that name.
Which name?
That moniker, Son of Sam. That was a demon. That was a demon. That was a demon. That was a demon.
Do you admit to being evil, Richard?
We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
Convicted serial killer Richard Ramirez seemed to relish the concept of evil. Once upon a time, a lot of folks in the state of California viewed the one-time Texas altar boy as evil's human embodiment.
Yes, I am evil. Not 100%, but I am evil.
In the summer of 1985, the Texas drifter descended like a deadly disease on a hot California night. A one-man epidemic of madness and murder, one of America's first serial killers to be given a brand name. The name, the Night Stalker. But in court, the case dragged on for 4 long years, with the Texas drifter frequently disrupting the proceedings by displaying satanic signs and shouting obscenities at the judge.
This trial is a joke.
With the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Richard Ramirez, guilty of murder.
And it was here, in a cramped room in a San Francisco jail, that I interviewed the man known as the Night Stalker. A memorable face-off, with me asking questions, and Ramirez, for the most part, reading from a script.
Serial killers do on a small scale what governments do on a large one. They are a product of the times, and these are bloodthirsty times.
A lot was made that you're a devil worshiper. Do you worship the devil? Have you ever studied Satanism?
There are different sects of Satanism.
Have you studied, just yes or no, have you studied Satanism?
Yes, I have.
Are you a worshiper of the devil?
No comment.
Come on, Richard.
I can tell you a little bit about Satanism.
Well, I'm interested in hearing what you got to say.
A Satanist admits to being evil.
Do you admit to being evil, Richard?
We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
I'm asking you the questions, my friend.
Yes, I am evil. Not 100%, but I am evil. Evil has always existed. The perfect world most people seek shall never come to pass. And it's going to get worse.
As far as Satan is concerned, I believe in a malevolent being. His description eludes me, but I have felt powers that are evil.
Many times, we as humans choose to ignore sentiments as such, blaming it on mental illness or just through plain unbelief. But we must ask ourselves, what if they're telling us the truth? Demonic possession has been written about in the Bible from the Old Testament to the New. We have read and heard the numerous testimonies written about Jesus Christ himself casting out unclean spirits throughout the Bible.
And there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, saying, Let us alone. What have we to do with thee, thou Jesus of Nazareth? Art thou come to destroy us? I know thee who thou art, the Holy One of God. Then Jesus rebuked him, saying, Hold thy peace, and come out of him. And when the unclean spirit had torn him and cried with a loud voice, he came out of him. And they were all amazed, insomuch that they questioned among themselves, saying, What thing is this? What new doctrine is this? For with authority commandeth he even the unclean spirits, and they do obey him.
Is it really so hard to believe that in today's world, the battle of good and evil continues to wage its fight against humanity? Is it mental illness or something beyond scientific explanation? We see unspoken acts of evil transpiring daily through the media and news, and we know and can even feel that times are changing. Even if the world does not want to admit what evil truly is, we cannot ignore the numerous accounts of evil people talking about demonic possession. It is not their excuse, but it is a dark force that one can choose to ignore through Jesus Christ.
And unclean spirits, when they saw him, fell down before him and cried, saying, Thou art the Son of God.
I never advise anyone to go into court regardless of the charge without an attorney. Do you want to be screened for an attorney?
I don't care.
No, it doesn't, because American farm income is going to go up. It's going to be a great thing for the economy.
They might use it as an entry to exporting chicken to us, which would be, you know.
No, we will be exporting chicken to the Chinese.
Can we buy a Chinese firm?
No, not right now.
Then why should they buy one of ours?
Why not? Because
we can't buy one of theirs. Open up the market.
Very,
Quid
very
pro
well.
quo,
Yes,
Clarice.
We have capitalism and we embrace it, and they
don't, Clarice.
We have,
Clarice.
we have.
It's 10:30 a.m. We don't serve chicken McNuggets at this time.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Why not?
Because we do.
You know what? Did you just go what? Did you just get some meat?
I hope this video gave you a different perspective. This was a Spike Kitten TV production. God bless each and every one of you. Comment, like, and subscribe for more content.